Today, let's see what $1,400 gets you in Fukuoka, Japan. Located on the 28th floor, this apartment has a second floor with a rooftop access, all just for you. Today, I will also be discussing how to move to Japan as a Japanese descendant. So if you're a Japanese descendant, make sure you send this and share it with all your other Japanese descendant friends and family. And of course, if you know someone of Japanese descendancy, make sure you send it to them too. But first, let's talk about this apartment. This apartment has a wonderful view. As you can see a little bit here, wait till we go to the next floor. The view from the terrace is really something else. Here, this balcony access we have is mostly for hanging clothes and, your AC unit stuff. This is a one-room apartment, so the room we're in, this is where your bedroom will be, your kitchen's here. So this apartment is for the monthly rent of 220,000 yen. The subway is only a 7-minute walk, and you're also in walking distance to Ohori Koen. Koen means park. Here we got a nice little air exchange. I'm having trouble opening it. Alright, there we go. This is just for some extra air exchange. Feeling a little stuffy, just pop it open. This apartment is pet friendly, and it will also cost you 1 month key money. Overall, this is in a great location. It's convenient to many places. My favorite Mexican restaurant. Easy to get to the subway and go to Hakata Station. Also nearby is the immigration office. This is definitely a great bachelorette pad. I know some of y'all out there with great design skills could really do something with this space. I am not that person. I would need a designer friend to come help me make this place look nice. Alright, so let's talk about today's topic of moving to Japan as a Japanese descendant. Like I said before, a number of people have reached out to me about this. There's really no information out there on this topic, and I did some searching. There's like one other YouTube video about it. So who qualifies for Japanese descendancy? So if you are second, third, or fourth generation, you qualify. But then this breaks down to two groups. For example, second and third generation in one group and fourth generations in another group, because there's different requirements. If you are second and third generation, the process will be easier for you. Fourth generation is more difficult because you have stricter requirements. For example, second and third generation don't need to prove Japanese language ability, but fourth generation will. So Japanese descendancy, in Japanese, we would call this the Nikkeijin visa. And to clarify about how to count generations, it's from who is the last Japanese citizen. If your grandparent is Japanese, you're a third generation. There's a terrace, we'll come back to that. So basically, when you're applying for this visa, you're gonna need to be able to prove your family lineage. And I'm telling you now, you will need a immigration lawyer's help. It is complicated stuff. Not everyone's gonna have access to all the documents, but just remember, more documents, the better. So of course, you're gonna need your Japanese family kouseki. Kouseki tohon is like your family registry. So it's important to know where your family came from, because you'll have to find the city that they lived in to get access to it. And another benefit of hiring a lawyer is that you can actually have them do that for you. So family registry, and then you're also gonna need every marriage certificate, every death certificate, every birth certificate of your direct family that you can get. So, we're talking about mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. And, this process is much easier if you have family still living in Japan. One reason this makes it easier is because you're going to need a guarantor. Essentially, someone to vouch for you, hey, I will cover this person if they get in trouble. This doesn't have to be a family member, but they have to be either Japanese national or a permanent resident. And mind you, when you're applying for this visa, this is a very long process, so make sure you give yourself plenty of time. I think it took me around 6 months in total to get everything prepared to be turned in. Then after that, it was about a 3-week to a month processing. I was already living in Japan, so I didn't need to go through the process of getting a certificate of eligibility, which if you're living abroad, you will have to get certificate of eligibility saying that I'm approved. Then you have to take it to your consulate or embassy, and that will actually give you the visa, which you use the visa to come to Japan, and then you'll get your residency status. The Nikkeijin visa is a pretty powerful one. You will get a long-term residency, which could be 1 year, 3 years, or 5 years. Even if you get 1 year, it's renewable unlimited amount of times. And then after a number of years and meeting requirements, you can apply for permanent residency or, even further down the road, citizenship. But yeah, so you need a guarantor. You need every document you can find proving your lineage. You will also need to get a certificate from the FBI proving you have no criminal background. And it's a very specific document and it's not cheap. And again, this single document takes about a month to receive. I think in total, counting application and my family records and other supporting documents I gave, it was around 35 documents. Other documents are going to help support your case. If you can speak Japanese and you have, say, JLPT, you can turn copies of that in. For me, I have done judo for many, many years, and so I turned my documents in and proof I've done it. Doing cultural activities and being involved in the Japanese community really makes your application look good. And say you have JLPT N1 or N2, this also helps you get a much longer visa. You'll also need to write a statement letter saying why you want to live in Japan, what your goals are, what it means to you. And maybe perhaps you need a family member to write a letter for you too, if you have family living in Japan to vouch for you. Oh, and you will also have to have money. You will have to show your bank accounts. You have to show, a letter of employment. How much money do they want to see? I'm not sure. They want to see enough that, you can support yourself and your spouse. If you do get this visa, or if you have it, you can bring your spouse to Japan. So again, this is a very powerful visa. But yeah, this is not legal advice. I highly recommend you hire an immigration lawyer because it is very complicated and they know what they're doing. Crafting a family tree is also a good idea, and also all these documents, having original copies is also very important. But yeah, when I got my visa, I was already living in Japan. I've had a connection with my Japanese family my entire life, so that made a lot of things much easier than someone who doesn't. If you don't, it's not impossible, but it just makes it a little more difficult. I personally do think it was easier for me to get it because I was already living in Japan, but boy was it expensive shipping documents from the US constantly and having to fly to Tokyo to get my FBI certificate, which was very expensive. So it is a very long and expensive process. It took me about 6 months of gathering everything and a few $1,000s. So take your time, be prepared for a lot of paperwork, find yourself a good immigration lawyer. If you have more questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you for watching that video. If you have more questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Also, when you reach out to me, make sure you write a well-written email. Make sure you have a subject because it will get flagged and put in my spam. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.